evening, morning, depending on what time it is around the world. Giving it a chance to cycle for Amazon Live. Fantastic. Okay. All right. So I have been on an amazing journey across platforms over the last several weeks with the gratefulness journey every day. And the last few days, several times a day, right? In the hopes of enlivening the discussions around the gratefulness journey every day. And it has been a complete honor and joy. It has been a little wearing, little, some days I awaken and it's like, did I get sleep? But for the most part, I've just been really excited to be able to share about the gratefulness journey every day, number one. Number two, to really raise a prime reason that I think is so important, which is a shared connection, a community that stands up to the cause, for the cause of helping those who are trying to go to the next level. And so I've been saying on one of the platforms, and now I want to say it on every platform, something that I think is so important and really foundational to this work. And just before I tell you that, I have to give shouts out to Brother David Steindl Ross, to Pandit Dasa, and to Jennifer Moss. They are three people whose work around mindfulness and gratefulness and happiness science has impacted my journey greatly. And I might not be on this journey this way without their work. Had to say that first. But foundationally, I want to talk just for a minute because gratefulness will free you up. And I want to talk about that a little bit. And a little later, Autumn is going to join me a little later on. But in this small time that we're together, I wanted to talk about something I've been saying a lot on another platform that I haven't said as much here, but it is true wherever I am, that gratefulness is a foundational concept that can shift your entire life. And there's one affirmation that I have co-created because I believe I get downloaded these ideas, but I co-created this affirmation because I think it's foundational to the work of gratefulness in your life. And I believe that if you change your language, you change your life. So if you give life to your words, because people are feeding you opinion on someone saying in one platform, and sometimes you're repeating what people are feeding. Sometimes you're repeating what people are feeding. And so you can give life to your words, and your words can change your life. So I believe that the start of change really happens in the power of what you say. Could be what you repeat if you're listening to other people. Have you ever had somebody tell you, you're not going to be any good, or you can't do this, or you're not good at that? And you internalize that and repeated it to yourself? Well, you just gave life to those words. And I believe that what you say you can have, and quite often what you say you have. And so if someone is telling you something that's limiting language or limiting belief about you, or someone is telling you something about your unworthiness or your not enoughness, and you internalize it and you repeat it, you give life to your words. And those words could alter your life. In the same, if you decide that what you're going to say is going to be affirming to your life, it can also change your life. And so this is the affirmation that I think I find very powerful. And some people have latched onto it and they're already coming back and saying, what's that affirmation? Let me say it again. Why are we saying this? This happened, this changed, this feels different. There is a shifting. And it's simply this: if I show gratefulness to God by handling the blessings that I already have, He will respond to my faith and action by unlocking the abundance yet to come. And I will receive it. I will receive it. I will receive it. That's the entire affirmation that I think is foundational to the work of gratefulness. And here's why. As you may have heard on my journey of gratefulness, I learned most powerfully about gratefulness from my mother, bless her memory, who shared with me on one Thanksgiving Eve the power, I call it the true power of gratefulness. You see, she had experienced quite a bit of loss. And at the time, I had not counted her losses, the deficits of the loved ones who had left, in the same way that I had counted mine, though we lost virtually the same people. But she lost a husband of 60 something years, almost 60 years, 3 children out of her 5, 2 sisters that were really close to her, and friends. I had lost those same people, but mostly my dad, 3 of my 4 siblings, my best friend, and of course my 2 aunts, among others. But my mother, seeing my sense of, I was not comfortable with how life had turned out. I was not happy with the absence of those people. It was a different life. It still is living a different life with the absence of those people. And I had determined that I was not going to cook on Thanksgiving Day. And so my mother said, hey, she didn't smell anything cooking in her home. And she said, what's up? What's happening? I said, I'm not cooking. I'm going to get us some carry out and bring it on home, and we'll have a wonderful dinner. She said, she grabbed me with tears in her eyes, grabbed my hand, and she said, you have the right to grieve for as long and as deeply as you need to. That's your right. But you must also reserve the right to be grateful and thankful for and take inventory of everything and everybody that you have left. Wait a minute. This woman has buried 3 of her children, her husband, 2 of her closest sisters, and other close friends in a span of about, at that time, about 6-7 years. And she's saying, take inventory of everybody that you have left. Does she realize that her 3 angel-like children are in heaven and the 2 bad ones are here? My brother's going to probably get a kick out of that if he sees this. Her sweetest and dearest children had taken flight, some of them as suddenly as this. One she found deceased, and she's saying, take inventory of what you have left. It still gives me goosebumps. I still, on the back of my neck, I rub it because I still feel the power and the weight of what she said. And it changed me from that day to this one. There have been ebbs and flows, no doubt. But taking an inventory is a responsibility, and it is an accountability that frees you. Because if you recognize that what you have left, including those powerful memories of the people who have left you, if you take inventory of that and responsibility for handling it well, it will free you from the power of grief over your life. Grief meaning that it has gripped, that you can't move through reality, right? It frees you from unforgiveness for having wanted a different ending. Frees you to have more room in your life for what is to come. Gratefulness frees you up. And that's why I wanted to come on to say that it does. It frees you up. And that's part of the reason that led me to writing the book. Part of the reason I wrote the book is I was already on the gratefulness journey, inviting other people to join me on the gratefulness journey, inviting people to practice, holding meetings, holding coachings, informational sessions, doing podcasts, doing video casts about gratefulness, even designing an app for organizations about gratefulness. All of that I was doing. And the pandemic came. And I had already begun writing other books, which, by the way, I'm still writing. So I started a new book and finished it while still having the others. And in the pandemic, it came to me, write down these concepts, this principle, this practice that you're sharing with people and are being blessed by it, and people are sharing it with other people. Write it down. Write it down with the hopes that 1 million people, that more people will walk this path of gratefulness, because it will free you up. People who are living in unforgiveness, and unforgiveness can show up in your life in a number of ways. It can show up in compulsive, obsessive behavior. It can show up in depression. It can show up in anger and uneven temperament. It can show up in sarcasm and condescending ways. It can show up so many ways. Brokenness can show up so many ways. Frustrations can show up so many ways. You can't just break through that glass ceiling. Every time you take a step forward, it's 2 steps backwards. All of these things can hold you bound, and gratefulness can free you from those things. And why do I say that? Because I've experienced it personally. That would be one. And two, because if you think about this affirmation that I just shared, the responsibility is yours and mine to take inventory of what we are grateful for. The responsibility then, after you have an inventory, is to handle your inventory with care, with stewardship, with custody, right? Taking ownership of the blessings that you have. I want you to think about that. Taking ownership of what you have, not what you've lost, not what you covet or want, but what you have right now. Taking ownership of it and handling it well frees you, because you're no longer beholden to what you don't have, what you're lamenting over. It frees you to invite into your life a gratefulness for the experience, for the memory of those things that you don't possess or hold to the extent that you've ever did, right? But it makes the room for more. It's almost like wiping out, cleaning out old closet and getting the cobwebs and spraying down the bottom and shining the wood if it's a wooden closet, pulling out the clothes and putting them in a bag and putting some Febreze or air freshener in there. You have all of this free space to make room for the abundance. And you handle the items. Some items in your life have to be folded and put away. Some items you need to take the cobwebs off them. Some items need to be dusted and cleaned, sanitized. Some items have to go. All in the hopes that you will make room for the abundance that is to come. It doesn't mean that those things don't bring at some point in your life value, great value. It means that their value has transitioned. It is shifted. It is to be put in a proper place. and used for an appropriate time. You are to handle them with care. And I think that's groundbreaking for anybody who is struggling with being held to something that happened to you or something that you happen to have done. Someone who is pointing the finger at someone, giving them the power to hold over you for what has happened in the past, for someone who can't level out their emotions around what is occurring or what has occurred rather. This is a game changer for you to consider that there is a time to handle those in a way that they don't prevent you from having room for what is to come. And maybe what's to come is a new job if you had a layoff, a new home if you had a foreclosure, a new relationship if you were divorced or had a spouse to pass away. But whatever it is, when you start to take custody and care and stewardship for what you have, God's response to your gratefulness is watching you move in faith and saying, I'm going to unlock the earth school that is speaking to you in motion and saying, come this way, or blessings are coming to you. They're overtaking you so that you can live in a freedom in your best life. That's what the gratefulness affirmation is all about. And that's why I'm sharing it, because I'm continuing to come across people who feel stuck and bound by the past, feel angry and feel cheated and feel robbed and feel shortchanged by life, who are angry and who are anxious about what's next in life, and who are disgusted about what has happened in life, and who feel that they've been handed a bad hand of cards to play. This affirmation brings a freedom to you because it brings back the responsibility to you to really take a look at what you have. You may not measure them as much, but you and I have blessings. We have been afforded at least another Wednesday almost completely. And if you're across the pond, in another Thursday, right? And so, what is your response when you're given something? How do you handle the things that you consider that are a blessing to you? As I said in an earlier or previous live, that Christmas is our favorite time, especially when Autumn was young. I used to love to buy this gift and that gift and this gift and this toy and that toy. And guess what? By December 27th, there were toys still under the tree, or toys that she hadn't played with, or that were strewn on the floor that I had stepped on without a house shoe, right? And I thought, well, she really doesn't understand what it took for me to get these gifts for her. Though I knew in general she was grateful, I really understood her gratefulness for the toys that she really liked, because she took much better care, custody, and stewardship over them. The same is true for you and I, that if we really value a blessing, life, health, strength, family, employment, whatever it is that you have that is a blessing, won't you of it? You will take good care and custody of it, because it is something that is a blessing to you. And that shows to God that you care about what He's given you. And when you handle it, it sends a signal that your faith is in action, and He speaks to the earth school for the earth school to overtake you, because He unlocks the door of abundance for you. And now you're in motion handling what you have, and God moves on your behalf to open up the opportunity for more to come to you. That's why it's a powerful affirmation, because I know that when you give life to your words can change your life. Give life to your words and watch and see. Your words will change your life. I was seeing a post where another person was saying something pretty close, that, think about it. When people tell you something about you, You can choose to internalize it and repeat it. And if it's negative or it's limiting or it limits the belief about yourself, it can impact what you say about you. Think about being impacted by someone telling you you're not enough. You're not good enough. You're not worthy enough. You're not cute enough. You're not smart enough. You're not savvy enough. You're not small enough. You're not enough. And if you internalize that and repeat it, then you're giving life to someone else's words. You're co-creating. You're taking the responsibility of something someone else has said about you. And if you give life to the words you speak, those words can change your life, good or bad, right? So if someone is speaking into your life and you internalize it and you repeat it, they say, you're not good enough. You say, well, I guess I'm not good enough. That is what you are affirming into the earth school. Decide to co-create your own destiny. And you say, I will give gratefulness to God by handling the blessings I already have. And when I do, he will respond to my faith and action by unlocking the abundance yet to come. I will receive it, and I will receive it, and I will receive it. You then take stewardship, care, and custody over not just the inventory, but over the actions relative to handling the inventory of blessings that you have. And that's when you're best positioned to walk this gratefulness journey in an extraordinary way. That's when gratefulness frees you up from the power and grip of the past when things didn't happen, they didn't work, and they didn't, right? When people didn't, when you didn't, when things didn't. Because we can have shame and fear and guilt around the things that didn't happen or the things that did happen and the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Well, we inventory of and handle well to the best of your ability the blessings that you've been given, you free yourself from the shoulda, woulda, couldas, and you open yourself to the possibility of what will be, what can be, what shall become. I'm almost at 7:30, and we have been in full swing all day, these 2 days for Prime Days. I've been doing some more content to enliven and embolden the talk and conversation around the idea of the gratefulness journey every day. And it was in part because there's a prime reason that this means so much to me. I have a beautiful niece who is my daughter, is like a daughter to me. I have beautiful nieces, but one of them is like a daughter to me. And her mother passed away when she was only 9 years old. And from that time until now, I've tried my best in the spirit of my sister's memory to be all that I could be for Autumn and to help to guide her in ways that would make us all proud and allow her to be the best that she could be. Well, now Autumn has made me proud again, and she has been accepted to the prestigious Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Houston, Texas. Now, you may know that on the Texan front, the governor has written into law anti language, anti diversity, equity, and inclusion language, anti African centered language that might restrict state funding or federal funding that flows through the state for public schools and universities. If those universities don't change some of their diversity training, don't change some of their admissions policies. And I don't want there to be any gap in funding for Autumn because of some restriction that the governor does for any institutions of higher education that are receiving funding. I want Autumn to go there and only be concerned about studying the best, to be the best attorney that she can become, because she is her biggest competition. That's what I always tell her. You're in competition with being your best self. And I decided, hey, what do I have? Oh, I've got a little bit, but what I do have is a product that I know in exchange for this product will give you great value. And in return, will give Autumn great value, because all of the proceeds from this product go toward helping Autumn's scholastic destiny, her academic support. Across all platforms, it is available, and I am going to show it on the screen here so that you can see it there. So if you're on Amazon with me, it's there on the screen already. There are other items that I will try to maybe get to in the next. I'll be back at 8 for a little bit, as we try to close out the evening and try to just encourage people to share this, to make a purchase and share, to share widely, so that people everywhere will make the purchase to help Autumn. All of the proceeds are going to help her journey to Texas. We are in Detroit, and she's going to Houston, Texas, which is 1,000 miles away. So all of that to get her there and to ensure that there is no need for gap funding. This will be the gap funding to fill in the gaps, because there are some gaps and we're working at it. And I thought, well, I do have a really great product that I poured heart and soul in, and that has blessed people as I know. And I'm hopeful, really, really hopeful, that you will consider making a purchase. It's Prime Day, and the prime reason to put the Gratefulness Journey in your cart is that it will not only bless you, but it will touch a young woman who is aspiring to be an attorney. It will touch her heart, and it will touch her to stand in the gap for those that are marginalized and underrepresented. As an attorney, I know she will do that and much more. So I will be back at 8 with Autumn. It'll be our last appearance on Prime Days. We've been on quite a bit. Autumn is not, I'm not camera shy, but Autumn is a little camera shy sometimes. But we will be back so that you can see Autumn and hear a little bit from her, and hopefully make a decision to click that link, scan that code, and support us in the Prime Day push to ensure that Autumn has everything she needs as she starts the Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Texas. I'm Marcus Holmes. Tonight, you can call me Uncle Dad. I'm the HR passion guy, and I'm passionate about helping people go to their next level. And tonight, I'm passionate about Autumn getting to her next level. So I hope that you will support her in this gratefulness journey, because gratefulness. Have a grateful evening. I'll see you at 8 if you want to see some more.